Week 3 college football predictions. Let's get into it. First game on the dock is Indiana State versus Indiana. Look, this is the game where Indiana makes a statement. Wins by 40, 50, 60, 70, maybe 100 points. Indiana, at the end of every season, they have 0 quality wins. They'll have 1 or 2 losses. And analytically, they'll look like a top 5 team, but they're not. Look, there's no line posted yet, and you know what that means. That means that it's probably going to be a 40-point spread. I'm going to take Indiana. They automatically win this game, so it's kind of irrelevant. Number 4, Oregon going to Northwestern. Oregon's favored by 27.5 points. And look, they won week 1 by 50. They won week 2 by 60. They're on the road. Northwestern's better than anybody they've played. I think Northwestern covers. It's very tough. Because when you're blowing a team out by 50 or 60 points, that means you're locked in throughout the entire game and you're just ready to go. It's very tough to keep that up, especially with a big game against Penn State coming up. 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, you're going to keep your foot on the gas and just, because they're going to win. Oregon's going to win, no doubt about that. Can they blow this team out? I think Northwestern keeps it, a 17-point loss. So I've got Northwestern plus 27. We got Clemson at Georgia Tech. Now, ESPN has this line at minus 9.5. I tried to bet it, Georgia Tech plus 9.5. They're not letting me bet it. There's some sort of error on their website. DraftKings has it Georgia Tech plus 3.5. Look, Georgia Tech won week 1 against Colorado, a legitimate team. Clemson's kind of been suspicious. They don't have a great run game. I don't think they'll be able to milk this game away if they get up. I think Georgia Tech is going to be feisty. They're at home. I think this is a toss-up game. ESPN's analytics actually have Georgia Tech favored, 56% chance to win. I'm taking Georgia Tech plus 3.5. I think it could go either way, but I like that 3.5 a lot. We got number 13, Oklahoma at Temple. Look, Oklahoma's minus 24.5. They just came off a big win. I don't have much to say about this game. Maybe Oklahoma, they came off the big win. They've got an easy matchup. Maybe they take their foot off the gas to an extent. I probably wouldn't touch the minus 24.5. I think that's a pretty good line. If you force me to go one direction or the other, I take Temple plus 24.5, but I could see it going either way. Next game on the docket, Wisconsin at Alabama. Alabama's minus 20.5. Look, Alabama had the embarrassing week 1 loss. They are playing for Kalen DeBoer's coaching career. If they lose this game, and look, they're favored by 20, so they're probably not going to lose. But if they find a way to lose this game, start the season 1-2, I'd be surprised if he's not fired the next day. This is legitimately a hot seat game at home. You got to get this one. And ideally, you got to get this one comfortably. I think Bama will win. I think they're going to be inspired to play for him. If they care at all about him, they're going to be inspired. Maybe they flub this game intentionally to get him out of the building. But yeah, I'm going to go 20's a lot. 20's a lot, especially for this kind of Alabama team. Probably won't touch that. I probably won't touch that game. Yeah, we got Central Michigan at Michigan. Michigan's favored by 27.5. They just came off the rough loss to Oklahoma. I think they're going to take care of business. They're at home. They're going to handle their own. We got South Alabama at Auburn, minus 24.5. Look, Auburn's going to win this game. South Alabama, their mascot, I don't even know if this mascot is supposed to be. That's how relevant the South Alabama team is. Auburn will take care of business. You got Villanova at Penn State. So we talked about Oregon already. Oregon's got that big game against Penn State. Penn State has not played anybody. Penn State's at home. They're playing Villanova. There is not a point spread. The point spread's probably going to be around 50. Penn State is prepping for Oregon. I think they're going to be locked in. I think whatever the point spread is, they're gonna pass it. So I'm going to take Penn State minus, I'm going to say it's 48, 47. I think they'll cover it. They need a big win. They've been kind of lackluster so far. Look, when you're playing these irrelevant teams, you don't really need to win, so it doesn't matter. But I'll take Penn State. Big game of the week. Probably the game of the week. Saturday, 3:30, ABC. You got Georgia minus 3.5 going into Tennessee. Look, it's tough for me. I think this is a very close game. Tennessee's at home. I'm getting 3.5 points. Georgia's offense, it's good. It's not great. Tennessee's young quarterback, he's kind of getting into the sway of things. Third game, it's a big one, but you're at home. Georgia's not as intimidating as they used to be. I think Tennessee wins or keeps it close. I'm going to take Tennessee plus 3.5. I think this should probably be a Georgia -1, Georgia minus point. I think this should probably be a pick'em type game. Because look, when Tennessee's at home, you're getting them 3 points. So you're essentially saying that Georgia's a touchdown better than Tennessee on a neutral site. I don't think that's the case. You got Oregon State at Texas Tech. Honestly, I don't really care about either of these teams. I'm not even going to pick that game. You got Iowa State. Iowa State's 3-0. Look, Iowa State, they're going to get on a roll, and I think they're probably going to make the playoffs. They are probably going to make the playoffs. Now, they need to win this game, obviously. You know, it's at Arkansas State. They're favored by 20.5 points. I will say this. I'm going to take Iowa State with the points, or minus the points. This is the kind of game that after a big win where everybody's talking about you making the playoffs and going on a run, this is the kind of game that on the road against the inferior team that you drop an egg and you have to come back late. You're down 7 in the fourth. So I'd be careful. I'd be watching out for a trap game there. Alrighty, you got UTEP at Texas, minus 41.5. Look, Arch Manning is going to put on a show. I mean, let's be honest. Arch Manning is going to dice them up. He's going to once again get some highlights. And minus 41.5 just depends on if they want to run up the score. Can Texas win by 50? Yeah. Do they want to? We'll have to see. I don't bet those kind of games. This is the game that everybody's talking about. South Florida, number 18 in the nation, at Miami. Miami's minus 17.5. Look, South Florida has won 2 games as underdogs against ranked teams, Boise State and then Florida. Does the parade come to an end? I mean, look, minus 17.5. Miami's at home. I don't think Miami's that impressive, but I also think South Florida. I'll take South Florida plus 17.5. I don't really think they've got a legitimate chance to win, but I will say this. If we get into the late third quarter, early fourth, and this is a tie game, or if South Florida's up, or if South Florida's, let's just say, down by 3, palms are going to get sweaty because South Florida feels like they're destined for greatness. They won both those big games. One of them was on the road. If they can get this win, especially if they feel confident going into the fourth quarter, I think there should be an argument that they should be the number 1 seed. And look, I know nobody's going to give them that. I know Ohio State's the reigning champions. I know you got Penn State, etc., etc. 3 ranked wins, 2 on the road. I mean, who else? What are they supposed to do to get the 1 seed? Who do they have to beat? Do you have to beat the 1 seed to get the 1 seed? I think if South Florida finds a way to win this game, I do think they should be the 1 seed. They have the best resume. And look, college football changes so much year to year. You can't base it off last year. Resume alone, if South Florida wins this game, they've got the best resume in college football. So I've got South Florida plus 17.5. I've got Miami's money line. Ohio at Ohio State. Ohio State's minus 31.5. Look, I don't really care about these kind of games. You got Western Michigan at Illinois. Don't care about that game either. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is only minus 8.5. A ranked team at home, only minus 8.5. This is the kind of game that I feel like Arkansas might actually pull out. A money line. I'm not even talking about just the spread. I'm talking money line. Arkansas might win this game and catapult themselves up into the top 20. So I'd be careful. Got an interesting trap game here. We got Florida at number 3, LSU. LSU's minus 9.5. Look, the SEC bias is insane. LSU is apparently the 3rd best team playing an unranked team. And they're only minus 9.5 at home. Sounds absurd to me. I think LSU gets it done. I don't think Florida's that good of a football team, if I'm being honest. Florida might come out inspired. You know, they've got a gauntlet of schedule, so they might have already given up on the season. But if they come out inspired, they could keep it within 10 points. But I'm a bit skeptical of that. Got another big ranked matchup. Texas A&M going into Notre Dame. Notre Dame is minus 6.5. Once again, I think Texas A&M's a bit overrated. Maybe a little bit of this SEC anti-bias I've got here. I'm not a big SEC guy. I think Notre Dame handles their business and wins by more than a touchdown. And we've got one more real game here. We got Vanderbilt at number 11, South Carolina. South Carolina's -5.5. I am concerned with the pass attack. Look, South Carolina's pass attack, it's anemic. I like Lenore Sillers a lot, and I think he could develop into something. But right now, he's kind of just like an Anthony Richardson, and you're not gonna win a lot of games playing like that. Win a lot of games against good teams, to be more specific, because they obviously are a top 15 team. So I think it's a toss-up. -5.5. It's tough to go either way here. I'll probably take South Carolina, but it could go either way.